Hi, I'm Sarah. We have already set our intentions and our prayers for this session, so enjoy and learn.
That is the question I wanted to ask, if we can do that for Gaia. See, the reason is I'm thinking long term, which I really shouldn't because all there is now, but I'm thinking long term. And for us to live long term on a good earth, we need to learn to respect Gaia a lot more than we're doing now. And I see our current way of manufacturing, reducing things, not really helping Gaia a lot. I see that, just as you were describing about the Martians, that would be the better way for us to take care of things that we need to live on Gaia's surface. Is this making sense to you?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
When such time as the earth becomes two, those who are enlightened will occupy the surface of one earth. At that time, the enlightened ones will be like the Martians and
Excellent.
work with their frequencies, their consciousness, with Gaia's consciousness to produce what they desire. Probably Gaia will already be doing that. It will be a clean earth, and those enlightened beings will know how to keep her that way.
Good. Thank you.
That's part of enlightenment.
That's the answer I was hoping for. And that leads me right into the next question. What is meant by your phrase, when the earth splits?
That is also an interesting question to answer.
Yeah, I thought it would be. As you know, I like details. The more the better.
As you know, everything is now. Yep. There is already an infinite number of possibilities and probabilities. Well, we'll limit it to Earth, to Gaia, which means that this split, so to speak, is basically movement into the reality of enlightened beings living on a very happy Gaia and leaving the others behind. So when we talk of the split, it's more of at risk of repeating myself.
Then say it a different way.
This other earth, this enlightened populace of earth already exists on that earth. It's already in existence. When anyone talks of this earth splitting, it's to acknowledge that of the nearly 8 billion souls currently living on the earth that you already are aware of, there will be there's a differentiation that becomes final for this populace. The split is more that those living on that earth, on the new earth, shall we say, will no longer be involved with those living on the old earth. There will be a literal split. But like I said, everything is now, so that has already happened. The current linear existence of 8 billion people will suddenly change and shift to in your collective consciousness. It will happen, but technically it already has.
Right.
Is that's probably not what...
I have some more questions based on that. So this new earth, which is now in real time, but in earth time it's not, is that also the participants that make that happen, that are enlightened people and Gaia too? Is Gaia part of that mix?
Oh, yes.
And you guys are part of that mix too?
All of consciousness is part of that.
So that means aliens are part of that too.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, okay. Things just boom in my head. Okay.
Good.
That's why open contact is so important, because that is the start of the new earth.
Yes.
Thank you. That popped up in my head. Excellent. Thank you, Grumpy.
You see, when you listen, he is very knowledgeable.
Yes.
And he helps you a lot.
I'm trying to listen more. In our linear time, when will this split happen? You don't have to answer that one if you don't want to.
I will not.
Very good.
There are many variables.
Very good. I didn't expect you to, but I had it down anyhow. There exists in Ohio, in the United States, a mound shaped like a serpent.
Mm-hmm.
What is its significance?
It's significant to those who built it.
Why? What was their belief structure when they built it? Is that...
It's a complex answer, because they were very aware of the importance of serpents in their own existence. It has to do somewhat with their knowledge, as it had deteriorated somewhat from their original, what they knew, what they had been taught by extraterrestrials. It deteriorated to where they thought of those beings, the ETs, as gods, or at least godlike. And then they began to associate them with the stars. Constellations, you call them.
Yes.
And they noticed that some of them formed a sort of a serpent. And there were many constellations that seemed to have a lot of curves in them. So they began to value those serpents, or any serpent. And they believed that they were honoring their gods, or the godlike beings, who, by the way, did have a slight reptilian appearance, which just added to their belief that by building the mound, in the shape of a serpent would give honor to the gods, would reflect their knowledge of astronomy as it was at the time that they built them. And they did include, at the base of the mounds, they did include the mound, I should have said. I think I put a plural on there.
You did.
Sorry. One mound, it just is serpent-shaped. And they used it for burial of their chiefs and their highly valued members, like the healers and even musicians. And they would, if they had value, if they gave value to artifacts, jewelry, instruments, things, they buried those with the people that they valued after they passed. And they believed that by being underneath this serpent, it helped them, these people, to make their way into the heavens to be with their gods. But as they built the mound, it took a lot of time and effort, in your way of thinking. And they began to just build the mound. They stopped burying artifacts and people, and they just thought of it as more of, see, we haven't forgotten you, gods. And then,
But the gods had forgotten them.
not really.
No? Okay.
No. But the time that the gods, the so-called gods, the ETs, had done what they had come to do. They imparted knowledge. And they were aware that it was deteriorating as the generations went on, but that was okay. The mound was still there. There was something still within those people to cause them to complete the mound and revere it, because even when all knowledge was lost, they still believed that mound, your brain, tongue, and mind aren't the only ones that get.
Don't worry, it rubs off on everybody that visits.
Oh no. Anyway, they just believed basically that having that mound and revering the mound itself and in its serpent form, which was difficult for them to maintain after a while. But there were those who were a little more enlightened, retaining a little more of the knowledge, who directed them to finish it in such a way that it wouldn't deteriorate. It would not, even though the people's knowledge and abilities were deteriorating. That is the way of the early humans. And even, shall I say, current human beings. Although there are those who are rediscovering some of this information, they're in awe that all this knowledge, all this information, all these abilities were had by ancient civilizations all over your planet, all over Gaia. And the excitement of rediscovering it is carrying a lot of the general enlightenment of humanity into the next phase. But I'm getting off point. You wondered about the serpent mound, and now you know.
So if they lost sight of putting their leaders and stuff underground, under the mound. I can't say that word very well. I take it then there's at a certain point, so to speak, that there will be no more leaders underneath the mound. It'll just be all what it is they built.
Yes, and they did not bury their dead in the mound any longer. Maybe I wasn't clear on that.
No, you were. I'm just
okay.
Making sure I understand where you're coming from.
Yes.
So, which end of the mound started first?
The head.
The head? Mm-hmm. Is there any significance to the head?
Well, is there significance to yours?
I don't think so.
There is. Without the head, there's no point in having a body.
Yeah,
isn't it?
The brain could be elsewhere, is what I'm saying.
Ew. That's hurt. Why would they remove the brain?
I don't know.
However,
it might be more aerodynamic without a head. It'll solve baldness. I'm deviating.
Most definitely. But I would like to bring up something that in your society, maybe not so much now in the Western world, so to speak, there are still some countries, some civilizations, cultures
there you go.
on your planet that do this when they feel the need. But to kill a snake, you chop off its head, right? So these people began construction of the head first and gradually worked on the body and built the head up some more and more on the body. You know, they just felt the head was the most important, but the body was vital as well. That's
okay.